Welcome back to Carrick United Analysis. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. This is the place where Manchester United fans come to get calm, clear, and honest breakdowns of everything happening at Old Trafford. No noise, no wild guessing, just real transfer news explained simply so every single fan understands exactly what is going on with our club. If that sounds like your kind of channel, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and let us get straight into today's story, because our pursuit of a genuinely exciting young fullback is heating up. Manchester United fans, have you been watching the growing buzz around Lewis Hall? Because our club's interest in the 21-year-old Newcastle defender is not just idle speculation anymore. This has become one of the most talked about pursuits of the summer, with senior figures inside the club and even senior players within our own dressing room, reportedly full of admiration for exactly what he could bring to Michael Carrick's setup. Let us break down everything happening in this fascinating transfer story. Why United have their eyes fixed on Lewis Hall. Let us start with the basics, because understanding why United have prioritized this specific player helps explain everything else in this story. Hall has emerged as one of the most talked about young fullbacks in English football, currently playing his club football for Newcastle United. He is an England international already, despite still being so early in his career, and his combination of defensive reliability and genuine technical quality on the ball has made him a standout performer in a Newcastle side competing at a high level. Reports throughout this transfer window have consistently confirmed that United see Hall as their clear first-choice option to strengthen the left side of Carrick's defense. This has not been a fleeting or casual interest either. United's recruitment staff reportedly identified Hall as a genuine priority target well before the transfer window even opened, having drawn up a wider shortlist of potential left-backs earlier in the year before ultimately settling on him as their number one choice. Why would United focus so heavily on one specific player rather than simply chasing whichever left back becomes available at the best price? The answer lies in exactly what makes Hall's profile so unique and so perfectly suited to the way Carrick wants this Manchester United team to play. The tactical profile that makes Hall so special. Let us dig into the specific qualities that have made Hall such a coveted target, because his profile is genuinely rare among fullbacks in the modern game. Much like his current role at Newcastle, Hall's real standout quality is his comfort drifting into central midfield areas to help dictate play, rather than simply staying out wide in a traditional fullback position. This kind of inverted fullback role has become increasingly valuable in modern football, because it allows a team to create genuine numerical overloads in central midfield areas, giving the team extra options and passing angles through the middle of the pitch that a traditional, purely wide fullback simply cannot provide. Think about what this means tactically for Carrick's broader system. Rather than simply having a defender who overlaps down the wing in the traditional sense, Hall gives United the option of a player who can tuck inside, add an extra body in central areas during build-up play, and help control the tempo of matches from a slightly different, more central starting position. This kind of positional flexibility is exactly the sort of modern, adaptable profile that top-level coaches are increasingly searching for when building their squads. For a manager like Carrick, who clearly values tactical flexibility and technical quality throughout his entire squad, a player capable of performing this kind of role effectively represents a genuinely valuable addition, one that adds a completely different dimension to how United can approach games against different types of opponents. Does the idea of a genuinely technical, midfield-capable fullback excite you as much as it excites me? The structural gap Hall would fill. Let us talk about the practical reasoning behind this pursuit too, because there is a genuine structural need at the club that makes this signing feel particularly important. United have faced ongoing durability concerns surrounding both Luke Shaw and other options at left back in recent seasons, with injuries proving a persistent challenge in this specific area of the squad. This has left the club searching for a long-term, reliable solution that reduces dependency on players whose fitness has not always been consistent. Hall represents exactly this kind of long-term answer. At just 21 years old, he offers United a genuinely durable, immediate first-team option on the left side of the defense, someone capable of stepping straight into a regular starting role rather than needing extended time to develop before becoming a reliable, consistent contributor. This combination, genuine tactical quality matched with a real structural need within the current squad, explains exactly why United's recruitment team have remained so consistently focused on completing this specific deal throughout the summer, even as other transfer priorities have also been pursued. Senior players backing the pursuit. Beyond the tactical and structural reasoning coming from the coaching staff, there has also been genuine excitement and support for this potential signing from within United's own dressing room, with senior figures reportedly full of admiration for exactly what Hall could bring to the squad. The suggestion is that his technical quality on the ball, his vision, and his comfort operating almost like an auxiliary midfielder rather than a traditional defender has genuinely impressed those who understand exactly what kind of qualities help a team succeed at the very highest level. Seeing that kind of admiration and support from established, respected figures within the current squad adds real weight to the idea that Hall would settle in quickly and be readily accepted by his new teammates, should this transfer eventually be completed. This kind of internal support matters more than fans might initially realize. New signings often find it easier to integrate and perform to their best ability when senior players within the existing squad are genuinely excited and supportive of their arrival, rather than viewing a new signing purely as competition for their own place in the team. Understanding the difficulty of this negotiation. Now let us talk honestly about why this deal has not simply been completed already. Because Newcastle's negotiating stance has made this pursuit considerably more complicated than United might have initially hoped. Newcastle have been described as extremely reluctant to sell Hall, particularly to a direct Premier League rival like Manchester United. This reluctance makes complete sense from Newcastle's own perspective. Hall represents exactly the kind of homegrown talent, given his known boyhood support for the club, that supporters and the club hierarchy alike would be very hesitant to let leave, especially without receiving an extremely significant fee in return. Reports suggest United have been preparing a structured bid in the region of £60 million to try and test Newcastle's resolve on this matter. That is a substantial fee for a player still so early in his top-level career, reflecting just how highly United value his specific profile and his long-term potential within Carrick's system. Whether Newcastle ultimately decide to sanction a sale at this kind of valuation remains to be seen, and reports have consistently stressed that this remains a difficult negotiation, rather than a deal that is close to being straightforwardly completed. The Champions League factor. Here is an interesting angle worth considering as this transfer saga continues to develop. The potential appeal of regular Champions League football as a genuine factor in Hall's own thinking about his future. Reports suggest United's hierarchy are hoping to capitalize on Hall's own desire to play regular Champions League football as part of their efforts to convince both the player and Newcastle that this move makes sense for everyone involved. Think about how this kind of ambition might factor into a young player's career planning. Playing regularly on the biggest European stage represents a significant career milestone for any ambitious young footballer, and if United can offer a clearer or more consistent path to that level of competition compared to his current situation, it could become a genuinely persuasive factor in encouraging both player and club to seriously consider a transfer. Of course, this kind of consideration works both ways, and Newcastle's own recent progress and ambitions in domestic and European competition could equally be used as a counter-argument for why Hall might be better served remaining exactly where he currently is. Why Carrick has personally prioritized this signing. Let us think about what this pursuit tells us about Michael Carrick's broader approach to building his squad this summer. Carrick has specifically requested a highly technical, inverted left back to help complete his overall tactical setup, showing a manager with a very clear and specific vision for exactly how he wants his team to play, rather than simply collecting talented players without a clear plan for how they fit together as a cohesive unit. This kind of specific, deliberate targeting reflects well on the broader recruitment strategy being built at Old Trafford this summer. Rather than reactively chasing whichever left back becomes available on the market, United have identified one specific player whose exact skill set matches precisely what Carrick wants from this position, and have remained committed to pursuing that target throughout a genuinely difficult negotiation. What needs to happen for this deal to be completed? So what actually needs to happen for United to finally get this signing over the line? First, Newcastle's stance needs to soften at least somewhat. While their initial reluctance to sell to a direct rival is completely understandable, these positions can shift as a transfer window progresses, particularly if the financial offer continues to improve, or if suitable alternative options become available for Newcastle to bring in as a replacement. Second, United's financial package needs to properly reflect the genuine value Hall represents, both in terms of his current ability and his significant long-term potential. A fee in the region of £60 million represents a serious commitment, but Newcastle may ultimately require an even higher figure before agreeing to sanction a sale to a direct Premier League rival. Third, the player's own thinking about his career path, including his own ambitions around regular Champions League football and his overall assessment of where his career is best served, will play a genuinely important role in how this entire situation eventually resolves. How should United fans feel about this pursuit? So how should we as supporters approach this genuinely exciting but still uncertain transfer story? I think there is real reason for optimism here, tempered with realistic patience about how difficult this specific negotiation appears to be. Hall represents exactly the kind of modern, technically gifted fullback that fits perfectly into Carrick's broader tactical vision, and the genuine excitement being shown by senior figures within our own dressing room adds real weight to the idea that this would be a hugely positive addition to our squad. At the same time, Newcastle's clear reluctance to sell, combined with the significant financial commitment required to test their resolve, means this deal remains far from guaranteed. Patience will likely be required as this negotiation continues to develop throughout the remainder of the summer transfer window. Final thoughts before we wrap up. So there we have it, Manchester United family, a genuinely exciting transfer pursuit developing around Lewis Hall. A player whose unique technical profile, comfort operating almost like a midfielder from a fullback starting position, and genuine defensive reliability have made him Carrick's clear first-choice option to solve the ongoing structural challenges at left back. With senior figures inside the club reportedly full of genuine excitement about what he could bring to the squad, and a serious financial package reportedly being prepared to test Newcastle's resolve, this remains one of the most fascinating transfer stories to watch as the summer window continues. Whether this deal ultimately gets completed will likely come down to Newcastle's willingness to sell to a direct rival, the exact financial package United are prepared to offer, and Hall's own thinking about where his career ambitions, including regular Champions League football, are best served going forward. Let me leave you with one final question before we close out today's video. Do you believe United will successfully get this deal over the line before the transfer window closes? Or do you think Newcastle's reluctance to sell to a direct rival will ultimately prove too difficult to overcome? Drop your honest thoughts down in the comments below. I read every single one, and I always love hearing the different perspectives from this passionate community. Thank you so much for watching today. If this breakdown helped you understand the full picture behind this developing transfer story, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and share this video with a fellow United fan who needs to hear this news. This channel only continues to grow because of supporters exactly like you, and every single one of you watching is part of what makes Carrick United Analysis a trusted home for honest, reliable Manchester United coverage. Until the next video, stay patient, stay hopeful, and keep believing in this rebuild. Come on, United.